Hi, this is Jason Nickleby, Coordinator of Officials with the Minnesota State High School League, and this is football training tape number 6. We have a couple more clips on this training tape, and we should have another training tape next week, and then that should round out the season. Hopefully these tapes have been helpful for you as we've gone along with the season. You don't have to agree with the mechanics or the things that I say necessarily, but hopefully it spurs a discussion with your crew. And once again, these aren't meant to pick on any one crew or official or team. We're trying to use them as a learning opportunity, and hopefully that's working out for you and your crew as we've gone along this season. With that, let's look at some plays. On this play, we'll have first and goal at the 9, and we've talked about these types of mechanics on one of the previous tapes about what we want to do when the ball is snapped inside the 10 or inside the 5 and those sorts of plays, and if the line to gain is involved or not. In this case, we have no line to gain. It's first and goal, so our responsibilities as a line judge and head linesman would be to get to the 5 and then move on to the goal line as the play dictates. So we should move to the 5 immediately at the snap, and then if the play is going to threaten the goal line, we need to get to the goal line and try to beat them to the goal line, as that's the most important line on the and without a line to gain involved, that's the lines that we would need to get to. So in this play, we trail the play, which would be great to do in the middle of the field, but inside the 10, we would need to move to the 5 and then move to the goal line so that we can beat this play to the goal line. As it's a tight play, it appears to be a touchdown, and we mark them short. Back judges, I know we're on the end line, but if we can help in any way, come over, communicate with the short wing, give them some information, and perhaps you can get a touchdown out of this if you're able to help. If not, you just have to go with what's called. But mechanically, inside the 10, move to the 5, inside the 5, move to the goal line, and we should be able to get these plays more often than not. On this play, we have a try for point from the 3, and it's real tight at the goal line, and similar to the last play, we want to make sure that we go to the goal line and then work our way backwards. The only way we would stop or slow down would be if we had a line to gain involved, which we wouldn't have on a try, but we could have on some other play where a line to gain is involved, and that becomes maybe a little bit more important line on 3rd or 4th down. But in this case, no line to gain involved, so ball snapped inside the 5. We want to go to the goal line immediately and then work our way back. We get this play correct, but had it been more tight, we probably would have been guessing because we weren't right on the goal line. Try to get as much depth as you can so that you can view the whole play and see players coming in. Like I said, ultimately we get this play right, but we want to be able to put ourselves in position to get these plays correct all the time. I wanted to use this play to talk about philosophy of spots and where we put the ball down in the field of play, and then our measurement mechanics. On this play, we have a 3rd and 1 play, so it's going to be real tight as far as the first down is concerned. I think it's a pretty good spot. Good clock management. We stop the clock right away because it is a pretty good likelihood that we'll at least measure or we have a first down, so good job there. And then inside the 10, going in or going out, you'll want to put the ball exactly where it should be as far as the spot is concerned. So if it's at the 4.5 or the 9 3/4, then that's just where it's going to be. Out in the field of play further, out towards the 50, in the middle of the field, we don't need to be as exact. So if the ball carrier gets tackled at the 49.25, just put it on the 49. No one's going to say anything, or put it so that it's easier on you as the crew as far as knowing where a first down is going to be, knowing where to enforce penalties from, those sorts of things. If we start putting it on the exact centimeter inch line in the middle of the field of play, that makes it more difficult on the crew, and no one's going to say anything if you're off by a few inches on a spot in the middle of the field. But inside the 10, going in, going out, we do want to be a little bit more exact on those kind of spots. On the measurement mechanics, as you see here, excellent. We get all of the players, everyone out of the way. The only small ticky-tack thing I would say is back judges just rotate so you're on the back end of the ball. That way the TV cameras can see the ball. But overall, very nicely done mechanically, as far as our measurement mechanics are done. And we just want to limit our measurements. If we know that the nose of the ball started on, say, the 14, and now the nose of the ball is starting on the 4 or is at the 4-yard line, we know that they've made the line to gain. We don't have to measure that. I know coaches will ask for a measurement, but if we started with the nose of the ball on the 14 and we know that, and now the nose of the ball is on the 4, we should know that that's a first down without measurement. But overall, good philosophy and good mechanics. I wanted to show this play because I think it's an excellent example of just fantastic line of scrimmage mechanics. Notice we have a clean white to work with, as we've seen on previous tapes. This official does an excellent job with his sideline and maintaining that space to officiate properly. He maintains the line, excellent punch on the pitch, the backwards pass. He comes straight down the white and then squares off and gets a good spot. So just very well done mechanically, maintains a spot, good punch, comes down, squares off, and then comes in and gets a spot, right on the line, a nice spot in the middle of the field to play. Very well done. I wanted to use this play to talk about roughing the passer and just our philosophy and what we're looking for. First of all, on this play, excellent mechanics. Referee sticks with the passer to make sure that he's not roughed or there's not a personal foul type of an action involved. And he has it all the way and has a no call, which is totally fine in this particular play. We just want to be aware as referees of the possibility of roughing the passer and have our antennas up when certain things happen, like with the 62 coming in unabated. And we also need to be aware of grounding. The other officials need to be aware of that, and we need to come help the referee because he's sticking with the quarterback here. So just make sure we communicate if we have a potential grounding situation because the referee's not going to know. He's looking at the quarterback. As far as roughing the quarterback is concerned, we've heard different philosophies out there as far as, they took more than one step or, they did an extra push, those kind of things. Well, we're not good enough as officials to see, well, he did 2 steps or he did 3 or 4 or whatever the case may be. It's going too fast for us to be able to count steps. You just have to decide, should this player have pulled off the quarterback? Did he have time? Was the contact unnecessary? And if so, then put a flag down for roughing the passer. And if it's 50-50, let's err on the side of safety, and let's put a flag down for roughing the passer. We don't want to give the players the impression that, I can get a free shot in on the quarterback, and this referee won't call it. So if it's 50-50, you think it was a punishing blow, it was unnecessary, you could have pulled off those types of criteria, then we should put a flag down for roughing the passer. But overall, excellent mechanics by the referee, maintaining his view of the quarterback and his depth so that he could rule on this play. And then just remember, line of scrimmage officials help out with intentional grounding, incomplete pass, those kind of pieces, because the referee won't be focusing on that. On our third play, we talked about philosophy of spots and our mechanics involved with measurements and those sorts of plays. And on this play, we'll have a tight play as far as making the line to gain or not. The officials do a nice job of pinching in, And if we're going to pinch in, it's going to be tight, then the nearest official should ask for the ball and put it at their feet. We don't want the umpire to put the ball down in the middle of the field and then pick it up and bring it back to the line of scrimmage official. The line of scrimmage official should come in as close as the pile and then stop and get the ball and put it down at their feet. And hopefully in the middle of the field like this, we should have a spot where we know whether they made it or not, especially on a field that's a turf field. Grass fields are a little bit harder to tell, but on a turf field, we should have some idea of whether we made the line to gain, especially if we were starting a series on a yard line with a nose on the yard line. And so we know if we make the nose of another yard line, we know that we've made it. Similarly, if it's not touching that yard line or the nose of the football is not touching that yard line, then we know that we didn't make it and we shouldn't have to measure. So we should really limit our measurements. We should have an idea of what we need to get to, and that way we can eliminate the unnecessary stoppages of the game. But overall, mechanically, very nicely done. Come in, sell the tight spot, put the ball down at our feet, and then handle the measurement accordingly. The other thing I want to point out in this play is we have a auxiliary down box, as we did in all of these games, and just make sure that if you have an auxiliary box and you're using one at the fields that you're playing the games, just make sure that they maintain the previous spot so that if we have to go back for whatever reason, they're there. That's what the auxiliary box is for. They're not there to mirror the chains that we're using. Otherwise, they're not really helpful in that regard. We need them to maintain the spot, the previous spot. That way we can go back to them if we need. Once the play is blown ready for play and we're going to move on to the next down, the next snap, then they can move to where you are, which is what this auxiliary box is doing. I just want to talk about our mechanics when we handle a really tight catch or no catch. In this case, we have a slant play, really tight. I think we get the call correct, and we sell it from the line of scrimmage position. We want a little bit more help as far as selling the call is concerned coming from the umpire. As you see from the replay there, excellent call. We're right on it. But we want to really come in and sell this one because this is tight. We don't have replay necessarily, so we want to make sure that we come in and really sell this one. Line of scrimmage official does come out on the field, indicates that it hits the ground. We could even bend down and touch the ground and then signal incomplete with 2 swipes. Umpire, we step to the line, which is great. On the pass, we should turn towards the play and then come in and really sell it because I think you have the best look at this. Back judge may have a good look as well. But we make the right call, but I think we really want to sell this type of play, and that will really sell our program to the coaches and the fans and the players. So correct call. We just could really sell it a little bit more, and that would be great. So some more plays. Great job. We're doing a great job this season. I'm proud of all of our officials and what they do to provide a great experience for kids. And we'll have one more tape next week, and then we'll be off into the rest of the season and the playoffs. So have a great weekend.